Podcast City Network.
You are listening to The Rip Griffin Show. Make sure to subscribe to the show on all the major podcast platforms. Here's your host, Rip Griffin.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to this special edition of The Rip Griffin Show. The World Series has just wrapped up, and the Atlanta Braves are your 2021 World Series champions. For the first time in 26 years, since 1995, the Braves are back on top of the baseball world. And it was a hard-fought series. This was a Atlanta Braves team that came in that was really not expecting to be here. If you would look back around June and July, this team was sitting up, below 500. This was a team that had lost their star outfielder in Ronald Acuna Jr. Everything just kind of seemed to just snowball after that. Mike Soroka was injured, so he wasn't able to kind of help them this season at all. And it was just one of those things that, what were the Braves going to do? To be quite honest, what moves could they make just to stay in the hunt in the National League East? They go out and they get Eddie Rosario, they get uh, Jorge Soler, they get Jock Peterson. And these were moves that were just, what are they doing? What is the Braves front office doing to bring in these players? Because I mean, you're a team that is below 500, and you just don't know. You're just basically in survival mode, and this is in August. And then all of a sudden, the postseason comes in, and it's like a completely different team. This is a team that is scoring runs at a exponential rate. We saw that tonight against the Astros, that this is a team, when the offense gets going, it's going to click, and they're going to score runs very fast. And that's what happened tonight in this game against the Astros. But just going back to the season and how everything kind of just transpired, it's exciting, because the Braves, they, like I mentioned, they weren't expected to be here, but they deserve to be here, if that kind of makes sense. So the Braves, I mean, you can't say enough great things about this Braves team, because you've got a manager in Brian Snicker that has been with this organization for over 40 years. Spent a lot of time as a minor league coach, was around during the era when they went on 14 consecutive division titles. He was a part of that organization somehow. He was a manager that uh, bled Atlanta Braves, and finally he is on top. He has finally won a World Series championship that is much deserving, and you got to give credit to Dusty Baker as well, because, Dusty Baker was also wanting to win that elusive World Series championship that has uh, eluded him for so long. And two managers that it could have gone to, two great managers that this World Series could have gone to. Unfortunately for the Astros, they fell short. There was a comeback, possibly, especially with when they won game 5, things kind of seemed to be getting back on track for the Astros. And you kind of thought that this offense was going to get into it, but that just didn't seem the case. I mean, the Braves had Max Fried on the mound, who had struggled. He struggled in game 2 against the Astros. He also kind of struggled this postseason. I think his record was 1-2 or something like that. 1-3, or 2-3 now since he won tonight. But you know, it's one of those things that you got to tip your cap, really, to be quite honest. This was a series that I had anticipated it being a very evenly balanced series. You've got the Astros that came in off the ALCS that really were on fire, to be quite honest. This was a team that, especially when they got to that 2 outs and they kept scoring runs and runners on, runners on base, runners in scoring position. They were driving runners in, and it was like everything was clicking for the Astros. And I know I'm kind of going back and forth between these two teams, but you know, it's a World Series that you know, gosh, I wish I can figure out how to explain it right now. But I mean, it was a hard fought World Series. Let's just put it that way. But still, I mean, to to be there at this situation at this juncture in the season, Freddie Freeman said it best when he was being interviewed right after the game that this season started in February, and to be the final two teams here in November, which is very rare for us to actually have baseball in November. It's exciting. And we didn't get a whole lot of that last season, obviously, because of the COVID pandemic year. But hey, we got a 162 game season. We got a World Series. We got a new World Series champion in the Atlanta Braves, and all is great in the world now. We got a full baseball season. We had a full baseball season, but kind of want to talk about the Astros here for the second. Larry, the GM, is joining in right now. He says congratulations to the Braves. Yes, definitely. The Braves definitely do deserve all the credit. They obviously they were the better team. I don't know what happened with the Astros, and this is something that we'll probably hear kind of in the later weeks, as the dust starts to settle and this team starts to be evaluated. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of key things right now. What's going to be with Carlos Correa, what's going to happen with him, and this offseason, he was entering that contract year, but he really didn't have a whole lot as far as production this offseason, this World Series. Now he did do when he got bumped up to that number 3 slot in Game 5. That's where we kind of started to see Correa kind of start to come alive a little bit. It's like even though he was struggling a little bit, but Dusty Baker kind of gave him a little bit more. Here, I'm going to put this on you type go get him type scenarios. I mean, he dropped Bregman down to the 7 hole, and I thought that would be the key. I thought Bregman jumping down, which is something that you know, uh, Larry the GM, that we had kind of been on a group text, and we were kind of talking about Bregman needed to come down. He needed to come down. I was it game 3 or something that we were kind of talking about that maybe game 4. Maybe he should have come down in game 4 is probably what we were talking about. It's been so long ago, but a lot of things that were going on during this season. But Bregman dropping to number 7, that definitely helped in game 5. And I thought that's where the turning point was going to be. I was super positive coming into today. I was excited. My anxiety was like, I was eager to watch this game. I was really hoping that Luis Garcia would somehow find it like he found it in game 6 of the ALCS. We didn't see much from Framber Valdez. Framber Valdez struggled in this World Series. I think the lights and sights and sounds of the World Series became too much for him. And I was hoping after game 5 or before game 5, he kind of would already have that mentality of what the World Series was about. And yes, I have to agree also too with Larry on this that Bregman Bregman continued to be hurt. Uh, I think we talked about this that Bregman put on too much offseason muscle. I think that's what hurt him. Obviously, he spent a lot of time on the IL because of his hamstrings, leg injuries, quad injuries is what it was. But sometimes when you go to uh, you put on that much, you're going to have injuries, and of course, this postseason as well. That he was talking about, he was having swing issues. His top hand was coming off, and there may have been a wrist injury. I think someone had posted something about that as well. But it's the postseason, and you want to grind because you don't want to come out. You don't want to come out of this World Series, especially with there's so much on the line right now, and it's hard to because you want these guys to, and especially to lose this World Series at home for the Astros, definitely has to sting. I think this is going to be something that's going to sting them for, it's going to bother them for quite a while, to be quite honest, because you work so hard, you've put up with all the crap that, especially on the road from the fans, about everything that went on in 2017 and the whole scandal and everything. They endured a lot this season, and looking back at it this season, the Astros have a lot to be uh, appreciative of. This was a hard fought season. Your starting pitcher in Lance McCullers Jr. goes down after Game 4 of the AODS against the Chicago White Sox. The bullpen was kind of the postseason right now for the bullpen for the Astros was phenomenal. Really that's my opinion, was phenomenal. These guys came in, especially when you're starting pitching, averages 3 1/3 innings. I mean, that's a lot of taxation on your bullpen, and you can tell these guys were exhausted. I'm sure I think Kendall Graveman had said a quote to somebody, maybe it was Chandler Rome or somebody, talking about they're exhausted, but they still want to get the fans and get everybody in to just get that extra boost that they needed. And I think I really think that's that's where everything kind of went downhill, was the starting pitching. Losing Lance McCullers definitely hurt. No Justin Verlander this year. Zach Greinke he had that one complete game earlier this year, but really didn't. He was kind of ebbs and flows this season between, he would go 4 innings one game, 7 the next. And it was kind of, what are you going to get? Jake Odorizzi. Uh, I was high on Jake Odorizzi when the Astros signed him. We didn't see much of him. So starting pitching was definitely key, not during the whole season, but during this postseason, during this World Series. We saw a lot. So, so Larry says, do you think the odds are better at doing whatever it takes to sign Correa now than they lost the World Series? So this Correa issue is there's going to be so much talk and so much chatter about what's going to happen with Correa. Now, obviously, I would like to see the Astros try to re-sign Correa, because he is the embodiment of the team. He is. I don't know if they have team captains with the Astros or not, but I classify him as the unofficial captain of the Astros, and he is the glue that keeps that infield together. He is the glue that keeps that entire lineup together. Um, I really think that Jim Crane is going to have to basically open up the pocketbook, and they need to do whatever it takes to re-sign Correa, because you can't go into this offseason losing another high-priced player. You lost Garrett Cole. You lost George Springer. You've got to bring back Carlos Correa. You have to. Now, what's that going to do for the future, as far as Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker, those guys right there, Bregman and Altuve are 2 guys that are probably, well, actually, no, I don't want to say probably, but they are nearing the end of their contracts. I think 2024 for Altuve and 2025 for Bregman. I'll have to double check that. I'm not quite sure, but I think those 2 guys, um, they're nearing the end of their contracts. So I think there was some talk of possibly maybe Bregman wanting to restructure his to free up some more money for Correa. I heard that somewhere down in the social media Twitter area. Um, but I really think, to answer your question, Larry, I really think that the Astros really do need to do whatever it takes to resign Correa. Yeah. Even though he didn't have the success that we're normally used to him having in the postseason, but what he did this season what he's done in previous seasons, especially with the science stealing scandal. Excuse me. He basically became the spokesperson for it, and he called people out, and he took this team on his back like a number one draft pick does. That's what he was. He was drafted in the first round, 2012, I think, 13 maybe. I don't know. But anyways, that's a moot point there. But you've got to figure out, this is, of course, I mean, the World Series has just ended. A lot of this postseason chatter will probably pick up. I think there's, was it 10 days? I think they'll be offering qualifying offers soon, right after the World Series. I think it's 10 days, and then we'll start to see some qualifying offers start to take place. And Correa will definitely, I don't know. Jim Crane said that he wants to offer the qualifying offer to Justin Verlander, but I would think you would want to offer it to Correa. Obviously, he won't take it. I mean, Verlander maybe. I don't know. But it kind of depends if anybody wants to spend that much money on Verlander, but he is a veteran. So, but anyways, going back to Correa, you've got Correa and you've got Altuve. Those two guys are the embodiment of the infield. They work well together. Now, can you imagine the Astros and Jose Altuve turning a double play with somebody other than Correa? These two guys have been around and played together for such a long time. So it'll be interesting to see what the Astros do. It'll be interesting to see what Jim Crane does and James Click, and what do they want to do with Correa, and how they structure it. And if they do decide to re-sign him, they've got to take into consideration Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez as well. Alvarez struggled in this World Series, something the American League Championship Series MVP. Yeah, he struggled. So a lot of I noticed this throughout the World Series, that a lot of these Astros hitters were swinging at things out of the zone. This is a team that is not normally uh, that doesn't do that. They are a very patient team, especially when it comes to uh, being selective with their pitches. They swung at a lot of pitches out of the zone. Obviously, of course, the umpiring was atrocious. We didn't get any consistency. I think Game 5 was probably the only consistent umpire that we had. I don't even remember who that was, by the way. But anyways, that hurts as well. But when your offense is the second best offense in the American League, this is a team that they didn't show it in this World Series. And I don't know, maybe coming off a 60-game season into 162, and this team just was gassed, was exhausted. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's, we may never know what the real reason is to what happened in this series, but to get blown out at home in Game 6 of a must-win, where the Braves won 7-0, that hurts. To lose a third World Series, if you count 2005 at home. No, wait, sorry, 2005. I think the White Sox won that. Maybe they won it at home. I don't remember. Anyways, to lose the World Series in 2019 at home, to lose the 2021 World Series at home, that hurts. That stings. And, it's unfortunate that the Astros have come so far to be so close. And we saw a team, they fought in Game 1. They fought in Game 2, and then they go to Atlanta, and just the series is tied 1-1 going to Atlanta, and we just everything goes silent. I think also too, and this is not making excuses or anything, but not being able to take batting practice for 2 days in a row in Atlanta really probably hurt this offense, because they don't play in Atlanta during the season. They will next year. I believe the Braves and Astros do meet in interleague play, but that hurt. I think that was a key factor in the series in Atlanta. They could have easily taken, games 1 and 4, like Larry and I were talking in the group text. But yeah, they definitely could have. This series could have been different. Um, 2 games for the Astros that they had, well, actually, that they could have taken from the Braves because they had 2 bullpen games. They were able to knock out the starters, but you got to give your credit to that Braves bullpen. They're, the night crew is what they called. And um, AJ Minter and Tyler Matzik and Will Smith and those guys, Luke Jackson. I mean, the bullpen was phenomenal. I mean, their bullpen is tough. They went out and spent some money on the bullpen, brought in um, Will Smith. I mean, Tyler Matzik wasn't even pitching a few years ago in the major leagues, and now here he is, World Series champion. So a lot of things that went right for the Braves and went wrong for the Astros. It's going to be interesting to see what the Astros do this offseason. There's a lot of things they need to work on. There's a lot of things they need to address. I think starting pitching is going to be key. Lance McCullers will be back, obviously. Framber, they're going to have to go back and kind of figure out what went wrong in this World Series because, and same with Luis Garcia. These 2 guys were phenomenal in games 5 and 6 of the ALCS, but then couldn't get out of um, the 3rd inning in the World Series. Jose Urquidy was great. I think he went 5 innings in game 4, I think. So a lot of things the Astros are going to need to address this offseason. I really think they're going to focus on starting pitching. Obviously, Carlos Correa is going to be the biggest issue that they're going to focus on. But you can still go out and get a number 1, number 2 starter. You still have Jake Odorizzi for next season. Don't know what's going to happen with Zach Greinke. I'm sure he's probably going to become a free agent. Justin Verlander, we don't know. He's probably him and Greinke are probably out unless one of them decides they want to come back at just kind of rate. Other than that, I mean, this offense is still going to uh, still be phenomenal. I mean, you've got Michael Brantley, Kyle Tucker is going to be back in the lineup next year. You've got obviously Jordan is going to be back. Uh, yeah. So yeah, Larry, we did say that the offense rests on Alvarez and Tucker. Yeah. But yeah, that's why. Uh, a lot of things just didn't go right this World Series for the Astros, and it's frustrating, especially as Astros fans. We've been through so much. We've seen this team go through so much, and to have it come out the way it did tonight was frustrating. But you still have to tip your cap to the Atlanta Braves. They were obviously the better team tonight. They were they they were more prepared. I mean, they were tough, but all in all, it was a good season for the Astros. They won the division. They returned to the postseason for the 5th consecutive year. Returned to the ALCS for the 5th consecutive year, and returned to the World Series for the 3rd time in 5 years. I mean, yes, you get to hang another pennant up in Minute Maid Park, but it's not the one that they want, which is the World Series pennant. So, but this is going to kind of take some time to settle in for the Astros. The Braves are going to be riding high for the next couple weeks as they start to. Yeah, I'm not even going to go anywhere else. But anyways, they'll enjoy it. We'll put it like that. They'll enjoy it. So, but hats off to the Braves. Congratulations on a hard fought series, a great season, a season that 100% turnaround. Wow, you still have to be pretty excited about that turnaround because to go from last place to World Series champion We saw that in 2019 with the Nationals. They were in last place, not as long as the Braves, but still won the World Series. So, but yeah, congratulations again to the Atlanta Braves on winning their first World Series in 26 years since 1995. So, but that's kind of what I want to do. Kind of a little recap, real quick. There's a lot of runs scored tonight, so uh, the Astros weren't able to get any runs across to kind of prevent from getting shut out. But it happens. It's baseball. So it's been a great season. It was exciting. It was there was a lot of frustration, a lot of heartache, a lot of excitement, all boiled into one. So, but congratulations again to the Atlanta Braves on they are your 2021 World Series champions. The Astros, hey, you still got to tip your cap and appreciate everything because it was a great season. So, but that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Take care. Enjoy the off season. February will be here before you know it, and spring training is right around the corner. Remember, the show is part of the Podcast City Network. If you want to check out all the amazing podcasts, head on over to podcastcity.net. Also, too, you can also call in for any questions to our hotline. That number is 210-263-3253. Be sure to follow the show on Twitter at Rip Griffin Show. That's it for this episode, guys. Take care.